I started Israni photography about 14 years back,
Wait, how many weddings have you done?
at least about 1,000 plus.
Wow. Fun fact about Megha is that you're not a photographer. So tell us a little bit about the kind of planning that goes behind a luxury wedding.
When someone says, "What's your real role at the wedding?" I think it's just being the bride and groom's best friend, comforting them.
Everyone looks at a wedding as one big milestone in our lives. What is like one story that you'll always keep with you?
Friends used to make fun of me because I was barely 18 and I was doing a mother's character at some point.
Oh, wow. So we're going to be playing a few
So now
songs.
we're gonna make you do the hook steps of
No
all
way.
these songs.
No way.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the DNM Frequency. Today we have with us a very special guest. Let me introduce you to Megha Israni, who is the founder of Israni Photography and Films, also Love and Memories, BTS by Israni. Megha does luxury wedding photography. She does almost 60 to 80 weddings annually.
Wow.
And now she's expanded into other verticals as well, like maternity, pets, and milestone photography. And a great thing about Megha is she's worked with stars like Harbhajan Singh and Varun Dhawan's family, actually. And there's a lot more that Megha does. So let's just hear it from Megha herself.
Yeah, Megha, firstly, welcome to the DNM Frequency.
Thank you
We
so
are
much.
so excited to have you because this is an industry that we have not touched in the episodes that we've done so far, and also an industry that is so famous right now. It has been for quite a while, but there is a lot of limelight on photography and videography, and capturing our special moments these days are priceless. So tell us more about you, about everything you've done and everything you are doing, and we'll take it off from there.
Awesome. So, firstly, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this. And yeah, here I am finally sitting on this beautiful chair, like the bait chair that we all call it. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah.
It's wonderful to have you. Funnily, we've had so many back and forth meetings about this.
I know.
day.
Yeah. I was like, is this really going to
I
happen?
know. We've been planning
Yeah.
this for 2 good months, and we've
Yeah.
been in touch with your
Finally. Yeah.
team, and we've been on multiple
Yeah.
calls, kind of brainstorming through this entire episode. And it's finally so good to have you here. And yeah. So tell us a little bit about Israni photography.
I started Israni photography about 14 years back. I'm actually born and brought up in Bombay. So for me, I thought I would die there until Bangalore happened to me. So started this 14 years back with a vision that, there was nothing which was creative in the photography industry. So my brother has been a fashion photographer all his life for the last 22 years. And it was his idea that, everyone, while the Western world did have candid photography and had storytelling and had these short movies coming out for weddings, and India was yet watching 3 hours and 4 hours of a traditional timeline, sitting through those long videos. So I think it was at that point in time where there was that transition of also starting to use DSLRs, like while people were using your really big cameras and going with lights all over. So I
Yeah,
think it
especially
was
when I was eating. In every wedding, the second I'm like, they will wait,
Yeah,
by
they
the
will
way.
wait.
They will
Yeah.
wait till you
Yeah.
take that little food and you're like, that's when they
Yeah.
start rolling. I'm like, why? Why this moment? I was nice just 2 seconds ago. You have to capture me eating with the mouth wide open.
Yeah, so I think that was that phase where photography was also ready to evolve. And I think I stepped in at the right timing. When I had to go back to fathers and mothers and convince them to, hey, watch a 20-minute short film. So my first short film was like 20 minutes. And I said, I'm going to do a 20-minute storytelling thing for you where I would interview you guys, and people just didn't get it. But I think it's only the first wedding that I got in, and it was that first client who took you to the second. I was into acting myself, so I've always been in front of the camera, never knew I would be behind the camera. And so I was acting since I was 3 till I was 12, then took a break, then again got back to doing television with Balaji for about 2 years. And then there was that gap in that when you move from that one show to the other, and especially when you work in Balaji, you like just get transferred from one job to the other. So the minute a show ends, it's a patent thing that, you'll just get transferred to the next. Yeah, like you'll just get transferred, like no questions asked, like they'll just throw you from one character to the other
I
character.
feel like that's a good thing and a bad thing because there is
Yeah.
security when it comes to a job because
Yeah.
actors are so
Yeah.
kind of
So
misplaced when it comes to
yeah, from
this.
that perspective, there was a lot of security. So I moved in from my first show to the second show. But from my second, when I got offered the third, I was like, I'm not doing the same thing again. And my
Right.
friends used to make fun of me because I was barely 18 and I was doing a mother's character at some point. I was like,
Wow.
my first show, I was getting married at 18. So I used to go back, and my parents used to love watching it. Like at 10:30, Sony was
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Pyar Ka Bandhan, that song used to come, and my parents were glued. So going back home to my parents was nice. But when I went back to college and, friends, they
Yeah.
used to be like, oh, you're doing Suhani, you're married. And, they used to just make fun. And
Correct.
that was that 90, that how television soaps
I
were
know, I
also. So
know.
I think a lot of my friends actually like made me like really conscious about what I was doing. So when the third show came, I said, I'm pausing. I'm just not getting into it as a per day job. I said, I'll pause. And in that pause is when Israni photography really happened to me.
Nice.
My brother had his very close friend getting married. I said, I'll help you. And from that
Was
help,
that your first client?
that was my first client. It was a free wedding that we actually did, like for a
Wow.
friend, like, just getting the team together. And it was her wedding that we actually curated. And then we went back to the edit table, both of us, and we loved doing it and the appreciation that we got. So we said, okay, let's expand this as a vertical. And I was just joking with my brother that, okay, you know what, let's do a wedding exhibition where you get more clients. So he said, yeah, let's do it. We'll start this. And there was, 14 years back, you really couldn't think of brand names. So we said, let's just do Israni photography, our surname. It was just the most easiest, no racking of your head. I said, if nothing else, at least at the exhibition, people will come and see you because they'll at least come to take a picture with me, right? Like I was that television face. So I said, you know what, let's do this exhibition. All aunties will come see your stall, even though we had no work to show. Like we just had one wedding to show. So I said, aunties will come to take a picture with me because I was that, 10:30
Correct.
slot girl. So I said, let's do it. And from there, the auntie asked me, will you be there at the wedding now to grab the wedding? I said, yeah, I'll be there at the
Ah,
wedding. So, and cut to, I think we did that exhibition in August. The wedding was in November. And she said, you have to be there. I said, yeah. And then I've gone to her house, picked up an advance, and everything I said, yes, 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 because I wanted to do it. And next thing I was at the wedding, 3 days working and not knowing what to do because, like you're not very experienced. Yeah, it's a new field, but I, of course, knew what cameras do because being in front of the camera, you knew exactly what to expect. And I think the kind of appreciation I got from my first clients, it was so gratifying. Yeah, it was. I think the father literally called and had tears, and he said, "I'll watch it." So I think that moved me. While I said, "Oh, no one really appreciates what I do on television." So I think that transition from television to come and do this was so high. Like the first 2 3 weddings that we did, and it just gives you a good sleep, I would say, at the end of
that's
the day.
beautiful. That was kind of your calling towards
Yeah,
this industry,
yeah.
I'd
I think
say.
the first 3 4 clients really shaped what we did. They actually taught us more than what, we would have really done because you learn rituals, you're working with different communities, you're working with a Gujarati family. I didn't know what a Lagan Lakhwanu meant. So they're actually educating you, saying, yeah, at this point, this is going to happen. And it's so intriguing because India is so vast culturally.
Absolutely.
So I think the kind of good food that you got, the good venues that you were at, the appreciation. And it was also that phase where people were also supporting your daughters to do something else. Like I was also like, I remember going to a client's house and he said, नहीं नहीं इसको देते हैं, she's new, she's young, she's a girl, let's support her. So I
Wow.
felt like that transition also where, like people didn't really look down upon, like people said, oh, did you face any challenges being a women entrepreneur? And I was like, no, people have been really supportive. Fathers were out there to really tell their daughters that, hey, you know what, this is so inspiring to see a girl, because it's also a very male dominated industry. Like if you see, wedding photography is really, really focused with having all men. So this was like a girl led team. So he was like, no, I'm very confident. So I think that change also like gave you a lot of confidence that, okay, you do see. But I never wanted to do business. Like if that was it, I would have never wanted to do family business, but yeah, here I am now, 14 years
That's
down the line.
amazing. Fun fact about Megha is that you're not a photographer. You're not somebody that holds that camera and shoots these moments, but you're somebody that plans and executes all of this, right? So tell us a little bit about the kind of planning that goes behind a luxury wedding.
I think the kind of planning that goes behind is really knowing your clients. I think the first step that we really like doing at any wedding that we do is getting to really know who they are. I think every wedding should be an extension of the personality of not just the bride and groom, but also the parents, because we really think that after the bride and groom, if there's someone really consuming that content, is the parents and is the siblings. So I think step one would be like really understand their vibe, understand their culture, really dive deeper into 10 years from now, how would they imagine their wedding film to look like, whether it's going to be Bollywood, whether it's going to be simple, whether it's going to be loud and opulent. So you kind of want to get that really well in your edit, because that really makes a difference. Whether, I think, if you don't vibe with their choice of music, however nicely you've shot it, you'll never really like connect to it, understand their story, why they're getting married. While we've done some weddings where there are two big families getting married, and you're like, where's the heart, where's the soul, like, so of course in the last 14 years we've come across multiple love stories, but I think some love stories just stay with you and they make you realize that why marriage is, like, so beautiful. So I think the kind of personal connect that we also get to have with a bride and groom, it's not transactional. And I think the planning process really takes us deeper into their lives, gets them to open up with us, the kind of mood boards that we create for them, the kind of shots that we plan for them. We also started pre-weddings, I think, 12, 13 years back. Like,
Wow.
it was like a big thing where we said, okay, how do we break the ice? And it clearly started with not wanting to take them to exotic locations, but it just started with the fact that, they're so awkward in an arranged marriage that they used to feel scared holding each other's hands or looking at each other's, faces as well. So the idea typically stemmed from, hey, how do we break the ice so that they're just comfortable and they get to know each other, and they kind of just explore each other's personalities through a day out. So if someone says, what's a pre-wedding? I think it's a day out with the person that you're going to spend the
It's
rest
like a
of your
little
life.
date,
Yeah, it's a
but
little
being
date, but
captured.
being captured.
That
And
is
I
so
think
cute.
people have really explored that, okay, I can like go down on my knees for this girl. I can be romantic. I can be really stiff, So you kind of break that ice with them. The team knows them. We know them so much better. So that's how the pre-wedding, 12, 13 years back actually started for us. And we said, no, we have to do this with every client of ours, because we just become friends. And at the time of the wedding, the process is so easy because they know their cheat shots. I'm sure you
Yeah,
understand. We
yeah,
say, okay, okay, guys, cheat
absolutely.
looks. So
Yeah.
I think they just know their postures, they know, how to pose. And then, of course, candid photography has been the way, up for us. I think that was a game changer because people were so used to doing only traditional and portrait photography. So what we typically bought in on the table was candid photography. And that's where we said, okay, you know what, just let your hair down, have fun, let it go, and and we'll take care of it, and don't be bothered about it. So I think that storytelling really has evolved like, over the years. And I think there's so much scope even in the next 10
Yeah,
years
that
that we'll
actually
see.
brings me to my next question for you, which you just mentioned about, when weddings are so opulent and grand, and there are like these tiny moments and intimacy. How do you guys, as a team, balance out the grandeur versus the intimate relationships, the intimate emotions that are shared between the bride and the groom? Because you know how the bride and the groom are so conscious during this time, because there are like 1,000 guests that are coming and wishing them constantly, and they're tired, and they're, a pre-wedding photo shoot, for that matter of fact, would have like them in their natural space, and they'd have the energy to deal with all of that. But when it comes to a wedding, I know I was exhausted at my
Exhausted.
wedding.
Yeah,
Sometimes when I look back at the photos and videos, I'm like, I wish I slept a little more.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you balance capturing not just the grand aspects of the wedding, but also the intimate moments at the wedding itself?
So I think the right balancing typically comes from just letting them be, and just, like, I think when someone says, what's your real role at the wedding? I think it's just being the bride and groom's best friend, comforting them.
That's so
Um,
beautifully said, though.
I
That's
think
very
just
nice.
comforting them, just giving them that little extra push to kind of sail through, the day, and to sail through there's so much chaos, there's so many rituals, there's so many people that you're seeing in your life for the first time as well. And I think given our way of the wedding, we would never have it that way, right? But we also do it for our parents. So I think their way has always been, I've gone for so many weddings, so I have to return the favor by calling everybody for my child's wedding. So I think it just comes with being present, being up, just being accommodating, listening to them. There are times when you want to push them, and there are times when you just want to let them be and really enjoy the moment. And even if they're cranky, let them be cranky. You don't need to fix it all the while. Like, you just got to be okay. And also then nudge them a little bit, that saying, hey, we do this one shot, we will be good. And, those intimate moments that you were just talking about, Disha, they're so natural
Yeah.
that there's no effort. It's so effortless to capture that, because it's seen when they're like holding each other's hands, when they're like,
Yeah.
pressing each other's hands, saying like, I'm angry. Even that's like a moment, like, I've seen brides like really cringe at a groom with like, pressing the hand and saying, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But I think it's those smaller things that we as photographers standing behind the lens really get to see. Like, I think we get to see the inner, deeper, chaotic family bonds as well.
Yeah.
Like, the bride is like upset with her mother-in-law and she doesn't want to see her, but in her bridal attire, like, she's like just calming herself down. I've had brides where we kind of give them drinks before
Loosen
yeah,
up.
yeah, like, yeah, like, just loosen up, like, just take it easy, because you're so conscious and you're like,
Right.
so I think a trait that we would say, hey, like, we love getting brides and grooms drunk, because I think they just like, so yeah,
In
yeah,
their
yeah,
not
so we have the
natural
best
element.
content. Yeah, so I think that's one way that I've always used. Like, at pre-weddings, like, I remember my brothers made people drink early morning. Like, we've opened champagne
Wow.
bottles so that they just loosen up at trips.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, oh, the whole day was so much more fun, and it didn't feel like a shoot, but it just felt like you're out with a bunch of photographers, cinematographers, and they're just a part of your day, right? So I think these are like little tricks that I would
Yeah.
say, like, getting them drunk is a great tip,
Yeah.
to kind of loosen them up, while it's not
Great
applicable.
tip to all the photographers that are watching this, to all the brides and grooms that are getting ready to get married. Just know, great trip. Get a little drunk.
No, but in India, I think weddings are a huge deal. Like, from when we're kids to when we grow up,
Right.
and everyone looks at a wedding as one big milestone in our lives. And even us as people, we have so much going on during the wedding, right? Like, for example, like Disha, I'm sure she had like a million thoughts running in your head during those 2 3 days. And you have seen so many people go through the whole fiasco of getting married and having this grand event. What is like one story that you'll always keep with you?
Wait, how many weddings have you done?
At least about 1,000 plus.
Wow.
At
Now
least
that's
about at
now
least about
that's gonna be a
1,000.
hard
So
memory
there
to
Yeah.
has to
tap
be
into.
something that really stuck with you. Like, I know I've seen my fair share of patients, and there's one patient that will stick with me. Like, I will be like, this patient, I'll always remember him.
So I've done a very beautiful wedding for a client, for a 7-nighter wedding, and I've never done a
Wow.
7-nighter wedding on a cruise. And this girl was so clear what she wanted. There were just 200 people at the wedding, which is intimate, right? Like, 200 is intimate. And it was a 7-nighter wedding in Europe. We've all flown into Barcelona,
Wow.
and it
Wow.
was barely like 20, 30 parental ages. Like, that's your. And rest, everybody is friends. They've had a wedding with heart, soul, energy, to party all night and then to wake up the next day. And it was like a Sindhi and a Gujarati couple coming together. So it yet, like, Dia and Neil's wedding is yet so stuck into my heart, because I did this in 2017, and my team didn't get their visas. I was crying. Like, I've never cried at a wedding, saying that I've never cried actually at, like, while
Yeah,
interviewing
even when you
parents.
see the vidai and
So I
stuff.
have I have cried while interviewing fathers, because like they have my heart. Like, for me, in the entire gamut of a wedding, like, a bride's father's emotion is very, very different, while everybody's emotion is very different. But I remember I had not got my visa, and I was like, how could I not get my visa? And the bride was leaving a day prior. I've gone to her house, and she's actually made a prayer to her Ganpati Bappa, saying that she has to make it.
Oh.
And next day morning, and she's flown out. I was supposed to fly in on the same flight with her. I couldn't fly out. The next day, I've got my visa and I've flown out and I've surprised her. And I yet remember the groom taking me to her room and her expression, like just seeing me, because, you're in touch with them for 3, 4 months and you're like, planning everything. And then suddenly, when you don't get visas, things go wrong. Just the disappointment of me not being there and me crying. Like, I've never cried, like, to go for a wedding and not being able. But I yet remember her expression, like her prayer saying, "No, Ganpati has to get you to my wedding. There's no way in hell that you're not making it." I think her belief, and then me making it in less than like 24 hours. And if the sale shipped, I couldn't really make it. So I just had that window of next day morning, and I got my visa the next day morning, and I flown in like the next night. And that just seeing her face, like, is yet one of the most sweetest
That is so
memories.
cute because honestly, I feel like when you're in such a tense situation, like a wedding,
Mhm.
your own wedding, that one face that you're so comfortable with, if that one face is around, not doing much, but if you just turn and you know that that person is in that room, you're so confident and you're so unbothered about
I
anything.
think for a bride, like her makeup artist and her photographer, these are two such crucial elements to just make her feel comfortable, and you'll end up spending so much more time with them. If you really see like a 2-day wedding, you would land up spending 2 hours with your makeup artist team and your photography team. That I feel like if these two decisions are made right, the bride is going to have a gala time just with great energy at the wedding, right?
Yeah,
Forget the end output being
yeah,
nice and pretty and
yeah.
she looking gorgeous. I think
She's
I
having a
think
good
I think
time.
every bride looks gorgeous. Like, I've never
Yeah.
had a
That's so
bride
true.
that I've said, "Oh, she's not looking nice." Like, it's just never come out. Like, I feel like a bridal glow, or you call it whatever it is for real. Like, there's something up with brides that I feel on that particular day.
Yeah, the
Uh,
stress, the no sleep, everything is forgotten the
yeah,
second they're just out in that
yeah,
bridal
in that
attire. You're
bridal
just like,
attire, there's some
wow.
magic. Like, I've never had a bride that, you say, like, as girls, we all make comments, right? "Oh, this is not looking nice. Oh, this
We're
is
all
like,"
the bride, I'm
and
sure, is unhappy about 100 different things,
Yeah.
yeah,
but
but
it never
yeah, but
shows.
when you see her, you're like, "Shit, she's looking so pretty." Like, every bride, like, I don't know one bride that I would say, "Oh, she's not looking nice." Like, every bride has a charm, has something to bring in on the table on that day, whether it's the most simplest sari that she's worn off her mom, or she's wearing the most expensive lehenga, or I've done a bride with no makeup look as well. And all of those things, like, I think everyone has their own charms that they
If you've
have.
done 1,000 plus weddings, I'm pretty sure you've seen a
Yeah,
range
like,
of
we've
things.
seen a range. Like, I think
Yeah.
right from doing.
Considering that range, I do want to ask you about some of the challenges that you've faced, like to the maximum when it comes to these weddings. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you in terms of destination wedding? It could be a
Especially a
destination wedding.
destination one. Other than the
Yeah,
visa, what is your like ground level? What
I think
challenges do you all
ground
face
level challenge in
in a
now
different
in a
country?
different country, like, I'm just talking in Bangalore, like, we face challenges of rains, right? Like, I
right.
think
The
True.
that's
weather.
like one
Mm.
Correct.
weather. And I think when you get onto a wedding and when you get onto these really opulent weddings, right? So with small intimate weddings, the challenges are lesser because you're so involved with them and you like exactly know what's going to happen. But the opulent weddings that we talk about, where there are 1,000 people, there are sets getting made, and there is entries happening with different SFX, and those are the weddings that we find really challenging, because you're like doing work on multiple angles. Like, you have typically 4 to 5 angles capturing different aspects of it. And then when you get onto a wedding like this, and if your wedding planner is not very good, if you don't have a show flow in place. So, as photographers, I always say that, hey, no surprises are great for us, right? Because if you surprise us, we could surprise you with like not capturing that moment,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
I think as wedding photographers, we really like getting into the detailing of, knowing who's coming in from where, what's happening at what point in time. And unfortunately, there are wedding planners or clients who don't really pay importance to having a show flow or an event structure, saying that, at 9 a.m., this is going to happen, at 10 a.m., this is going to happen. And that's the time where we feel like we're like headless chickens, not knowing where to run and not knowing what to capture. So I think that really gets stressful. And when I think in our Indian customs as well, like, if you do a Marwari wedding, there are like 10 rituals happening. When you do a South Indian wedding, also, like, there's someone entering from there, there's some small puja happening there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of times as photographers, we can't really miss something. because I don't know what's going to be important for whom, right? Today, the bride would give us a brief saying that, hey, I'm important, my groom's important, these are my bridesmaids are important, and my parents are important. But for the mother's perspective,
Her sisters
her
and
sisters,
her
her
The
extended
friends,
family.
her
rituals.
rituals are important.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're doing a wedding photography job, you're just not catering to the bride and groom, but you're catering to some uncle over there who's organized the entire wedding. And he says, Nini, you have to capture the entire food as well. And in my head, like, uncle, we don't capture people eating. Nini, aapko to karna hi hai,
Yeah.
like that's the
Some
reaction.
mandates
So
of the
you're
family.
you're like capturing some uncles, you're satisfying someone's egos as well, because the groom's father thinks that there has to be a photographer with me as well. So you're like also balancing out both the sides of the families, because they're also two different cultures or two different sets of upbringings, right? You could be having the same caste and same rituals, but your upbringings are so different. Some people love the camera, some people are like, just capture us quietly, we don't want to show this. So you come across very simple people, and you also come across like really like photo friendly, while I'll not say like they don't love the camera, but they just want to see a photographer in front of your naked eye, and they want to capture every human being. And I'm like, are you even going to see these pictures? Like, you
Yeah.
really think about it, you're never going to go through a set of 1,000 pictures. But that
Mm.
father has one guest coming, he'll click one picture with him, because that's been happening for years, right? So I think it's also about balancing that act, for us.
That brings me to actually, you just mentioned about how, don't keep surprises from us because we might surprise you by
Yeah,
not capturing it. So
yeah.
that brings me to, has there ever been a moment which was completely unplanned that you guys had no idea was going to happen, but you captured that and it went like absolutely viral, or it went like something that you never expected would turn out to be this good?
I'll tell you, to that, I'll think about this, but I had a client who really taught me the tough way of not missing out. So, very early on, I did a wedding, and the mother of the bride
Mm.
I'm talking about 10 years back, had created tissues with the bride and groom's logo. And it was there on every table. And now we didn't know, we didn't capture that, and we didn't capture the table detailing. And we didn't realize that a tissue and your napkin holder and your spoons are going to have engraved and
But
she
she
was
put in a
and she
lot
was
of,
making the
yeah.
groom's side have food on a chandi ki thali, and we had missed out on that. And she had killed us like back, once we come back, she's asking for pictures, and I'm like, tissue paper? In my head, I couldn't comprehend that
Yeah.
tissue paper needs to be captured, right? She said, how could you not capture that, this that? And she really took our case that day. And today we get into every mother's detailing, we get into every father's detailing, because we know. And while she wasn't wrong, right, but I just wish we were informed about it. It doesn't cost us to click a picture, but it's just that because we were not informed about it, that this is to be captured, now we didn't capture it.
Correct.
And I yet remember that story so clearly. So it's like a thumb rule at office, that we're taking detailings, like we are actually asking them that, is there something that you've done, is there something that you really want us to capture? So we actually ask that question like so many times in the due course of meetings, so that we just don't miss out and we don't feel guilty. But I yet feel guilty for that even today. Like now when I look back at it, I
I
like,
miss the
shit,
tissue
yeah,
paper.
like I miss the tissue paper, but it also taught me my life's biggest lesson.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for that,
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't have learned it. And I think the hard way up is how you learn it. And I think something like that we've captured and we've really treasured, I think is, when girls leave out from their homes and they go to their destination of the wedding, that whole home going is, while it's not a function, it's not a ritual, there's nothing. But I remember the first time that we actually captured the brides getting out of the house is so special, because there's so many tears at that point in time, because you realize that
You're leaving the
you're leaving
Yeah,
house.
home.
actually, that's
Yeah.
such an underrated emotion, I think, when
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
comes to
yeah,
all of this that's happening, because we're in such a rush because we're getting late to the wedding,
right.
and the pujari is like,
Waiting there.
5 minutes late, and we cannot make this happen, sort of a thing. So everyone is so stressed to leave the house,
Right.
but little do we realize that once we leave, that's the last step we take out,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because after the rituals are done, ideally, it's always the Grah Pravesh in
In
the
the groom's
husband's
house.
house,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So we don't step back into the house. We
yeah,
always come back a
yeah,
day later. I'm like
yeah.
chilling in my mom's house. That's
Right.
okay. But as a single woman to a married woman, that's the last step
That's
I
the
take
last
out of
step.
my
Yeah,
house.
Yeah, so
Right.
that people don't really capture. Like no
Yeah,
one
yeah.
really pays a lot of attention to that. But I've seen, like, to me, like those emotions are like my highlight.
Raw.
Like they're very raw. There's a grandmother feeding you shakkar and dahi because just before you leave, and you're like, it is like I've captured some homes if they allow us to, because people also feel like it's really private. It's also, and also people say, no, I'm leaving in my pajamas. I'm just checking into a hotel. I don't want you to capture me. But I'm like, guys, let us do this because it
Yeah.
really,
You'll need it later on.
yeah, like 10 years from now, when you look back at it, it
It'll be
really
the
Yeah.
sweetest, yeah.
it kind of is really sweet. It's just very, very precious.
But also, Megha, I'm sure you've seen a lot of like not just Hindu weddings, but like Sikh and Punjabi and Muslim, and I'm sure you've seen a
Yeah, a wide, I
varied.
think, yeah.
So give us some insight into that. What are those like? What, because I think a majority of us, what actually comes into the what we see is our South Indian weddings. I
Right.
think what we've attended the most will be
For
like a
us, yeah.
proper grandeur, like a South Indian wedding. So
Yeah.
what are the challenges, or what do you see? Tell us some differences that we see with these different
Cultural
cultural
nuances
with
it could
these.
be that, it
Yeah.
could be
I
anything.
think no one does weddings like Marwadis, like
Ah.
hands down to them. Hands down to them. Because I think for them, it's about, they're the most simplest people when you'll see them across. Like, I think South Indians and Marwadis both are very simple in their daily lifestyle, while I think Sindhis and Punjabis are really opulent all through the year. For them, it's never about saving for that one fine day. But I think for a Gujarati, Marwadi, South Indian family, it's the day a daughter is born. I think there is gold getting saved in a like in a South Indian household. For a Marwadi family, there's literal cash getting saved to get your daughter married. It's a dream that the father has seen since then, and it's always about upping the game from the last wedding that you attended. Like a Marwadi's wedding is, okay, my brother has
They're very
done this.
competitive.
Yeah, it's basically a showing everything that you've done in your lifetime. Like your houses, like I've stepped into such simple homes, and you'll be like, are they doing this kind of wedding? Like, how? Because it's so simple and so raw, but their weddings are massive. Like, they'll have like a Sonu Nigam performing, they'll have a Mika
Wow.
performing. So every checklist of their life that they've ever lived, I think gets fulfilled through a wedding. The entire community sees what you've achieved through a wedding. So I think it's, for Marwadis, it's more like an achievement of a tick box. While I think for Sindhis and Punjabis, just get them drunk, they're very happy.
I'm going to tell you about like a personal story. I was at a Punjabi wedding and we partied all night. It was a cocktail party the previous night, and the fairas were the next day. And we partied all night. The next day morning, Shashank and I wake up. We're in our clothes. We were all dressed up, and we go to the fairas. And one of the uncles were like, I mean, it's going to take another 20 minutes. The room next door has alcohol. We're stuffed with liquor. Come, come, come. Let's start drinking in the morning. And I'm like, we're going to drink when they're doing
in
their
the
fairas. Are
Yeah,
you
so
serious?
yeah,
This
so I
is
think
a culture?
so
I
I
did
think
not know.
Sindhis and Punjabis, I think they just want to look at what bottles are kept at the bar. They care a damn. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're the ones who really spend on decors as well. Like, we're very, very practical. Just spend on great alcohol, and people are going to have a great time. Food and alcohol is important,
Yeah.
but you'll not see them spending on a lot of decor per se. Like, while there is a certain crowd who will, but the opulency is always on the bar, and the opulency is always on having a cocktail night, a sangeet. Like, every event would have alcohol attached to it,
Yeah.
except the fairas. But then you'll see, like how she said, that
It's in the room next
there
door.
was like a backyard fair. Like,
Yeah.
you'll just not have it in front, but you'll have it somewhere in some room, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think Sindhi Punjabi weddings are about alcohol.
This is such
Marwadi
a
weddings,
cultural
yeah,
shock for
yeah,
us,
I'm
to be
sure.
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, because we have no
Because we
alcohol,
are
Yeah.
no
like,
non-veg
we have a
at
cocktail party
weddings.
like 3 days prior,
Yeah,
so that we rest enough, and then we have the fairas.
correct.
Like, we're so orthodox about it, and there's like a bunch
Correct.
of rituals before and after and all of that to walk into a wedding where they're like, the wedding has actually happened, but yeah, yeah, you can go have a drink and come back. And I'm like,
How do you sit like how do you
did this
sit?
happen?
Yeah.
But
It's
also,
like
I
a
think each community, like you said, Marwadi to Sindhi to Punjabi, the rituals are so different. And I'm sure a lot of it is new things you're learning with
Yeah,
each
like when I
wedding.
came
You
to
won't know.
Bangalore, for me, doing South Indian weddings was so beautiful because
Correct.
they're
The
so,
meaning behind
yeah, like the
these
meaning
things.
behind it, and it's like early morning. So as a photographer, I'm a sucker for like good lighting. So I was like, hey, this bride is ready at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
and from 6 to 7, like, you do a great photo shoot, and then she steps in. and everything is so structured, right? Like there's no one coming in between and doing anything without the scripting, or like, like there's a certain format, and because it's so early in the morning, you'll not see the whole village there. Right? Unlike
Right.
unlike a
Yeah.
Marwari wedding, at 7 o'clock is when they do their barat and they have a midnight wedding. So when the bride walks down the aisle during her Varmala, there are like 1,000 people. And because she's got ready at 7, she misses out on her daylight picture. So for us, we love morning weddings. Ask any photographer, they'll say, please give us a morning wedding. And I think in a South Indian wedding, like I did a Malayalam wedding in Bombay, and the wedding just got over in 10 minutes. And I was like, what was this? She came in, she's gone on the stage, the groom was already there, and in 10 minutes it was wrapped up. And I was like, wow, this was the fastest wedding like we've ever done. Like she got ready, like her getting ready was longer than the wedding. I was like, and then there was just like a basic mini reception which went on for really long, but the wedding was like just like one, yeah, like just one string, and that was it. And I was like, a little rice here, and I was like, dude, this is like a blink of an eye. And the photographers were also like, hey, this is like a quick pack up for us, right? Like we were like, hey, so I think Marwari weddings are long, while I think South Indian weddings, because they're morning and they're also long, but it just doesn't feel long because you started like early in the morning, and then you get done by lunchtime. There are lesser things to do. Like in a Gujarati and a Marwari and a normal wedding, you would have like rituals after rituals happening. So I think that difference is there. So I think we like best of both the worlds, because the night one has its own advantages.
True.
Like,
The
it has,
lighting and the
yeah, like you
crackers.
get the grandeur, right? Like you
Correct.
get your
It looks beautiful.
firecrackers,
Yeah.
you get, that golden lighting. So which is very different. So I think I won't ever be able to pick one, but yeah, hands down, a daylight bride is a daylight bride.
Yeah, I'm going to touch back on something that you said about how, the leaving ritual of the bride from the house and capturing those little moments, as compared to when you shoot a wedding outside of India. It could be anywhere, right? You said you did a wedding in Europe, you did a wedding elsewhere. So, considering that, what do you think are some of the differences or things that you miss out on that you would do in India versus the international weddings that you do?
I think international wedding has lesser people. It's more experiential. It's not about wanting to show the world what we've achieved. It's more about really enjoying yourself, because the minute you have lesser people, your parents are less stressed. You're not sitting and attending to people. You've also had a wedding planner. In India, you typically say, my chacha is going to plan this.
Yeah.
My mommy is going to take care of the decor. My cousin is going to do this. My little cousin is a very good foodie, so he'll take care of the plates and stuff. So that's how wedding planning initially, right? If you saw 14, 15 years back, wedding planning was all departments given to each family members, and they took care of it. There was no concept of wedding planner. So I think when you go internationally, you know that, okay, we're not experts, so we have to really go with
Bank
an
on someone
yeah, we
else
have
to
to
do all
bank
of
on
this.
someone else's experience, because you're in a foreign land. Language could be a barrier. You need your tourism support, because you are also taking so many flights. You're taking a Maharaj in, for all you know. You're also taking your artist as well, so your
And also
visas,
permissions for your
also permissions,
locations.
locations. So while hotels are very, very welcoming to Indian weddings, like we're at the stage where India is like looked up at a very, very high level. Like you go to Bahrain, Bahrain would lay down a red carpet for Indian weddings. You go to Turkey, Turkey would make the whole world fall into your feet. So the kind of hospitality and the kind of respect
I
that
love that.
Indians have,
I know.
I
It's just
love
so
that
good
for
to
us.
hear
yeah, the
this.
kind
Yeah.
of
I love
respect
that.
and the kind of VIP services that today we're able to command for. And like Turkey's, so much of the money is dependent on Indian weddings. But I'm saying Indian weddings like contribute, because Turkey has largest properties ever. So you have hotels with 600 keys. Now, if someone wants to do a wedding in India with 600 keys, there is no hotel to do a 600 key wedding. But Turkey gives you that thing. So when people do your 1,000 people weddings, you go to Turkey, you go to Antalya, the whole hotel is at your beck and call. Everything is laid down for you. So I think India is at a very good space to command respect. They let Maharajas enter their kitchen. they let outside food come in. So there's a company called Foodlink which has offices in Dubai, Turkey, every international country, an Indian
They do
company.
catering for
Yeah,
weddings.
because they know that if
Nice.
we don't accommodate this, we're going to lose out on a large chunk of our business. So I think they've become so open. You want to do firecrackers anywhere, go for it. You want anything under the sun, you ask, and it is given to you. That's the kind of service that we get across, like even Dubai. Like Dubai loves having Indian weddings. Like you go to Russell Khema, you go to these smaller hotels. They like, okay, come do whatever you want, and the hotel is all yours because the buyouts are so big in Indian weddings, right? So you're not working with 100 people. You're on an average working with 400 people. Like any destination wedding that you would do is at least 3 to 400 people. Now that kind of billing,
Is
It's,
insane.
it
yeah,
is
I
insane,
agree.
right? Like,
Now
yeah.
that we're talking about India versus international weddings and all of that, what are the current trends that you've been seeing in terms of photography and videography with the weddings that are happening these days? Is there a difference between the trends that you see in India versus internationally shot weddings, or is it the same? What are the current trends that you're seeing that are different from when you started? Probably, like you said, there were a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
pre-wedding
yeah. Oh
shoots
yeah.
and stuff like
Oh
that. So
yeah.
what are the difference in trends
So,
that you see?
so I think we've pretty much caught up with them. Like I would say 14 years back, we were pretty much behind. We were yet doing traditional videos. We were not doing the best quality. Today, we're all working on 4K videos. Today, we're all working on DSLRs. Barely would you see anybody working on, old Panasonic cameras, where someone's carrying a halogen with you. So when I started, there was halogens. We used to put an umbrella and we used to kill the ambience, right? Like because the minute you're in a nice, pretty decor or an after party and suddenly there's a halogen on your face and it just kills the whole thing. So I think I started off with that, and today we've evolved and we've come a really long way where we're not using any artificial lights. We're using the ambient lights. We just carry a small LC with us just to kind of fill in spaces at times. So I think we're pretty much at par. I think Indian wedding photography has moved even across, because I would say that we get hired for international weddings. Like I know my friends from the industry who travel to Europe, US to do weddings, because I think what Indians can really do, like I say hum ghode hai, like we can really work for 18 hours. And if you see with international wedding photographers, they work on 4-hour shifts and 8-hour shifts. So I know I had my best friend's wedding in US and she'd hired a team from there, and he's missed out on so many important things because his shift was only 4 hours, like in the morning and 4 hours in the evening. So he has no after party content when people are drunk. Now if you talk to an Indian wedding photographer, they're the first ones to start and the last ones to step out from your venue. So the kind of energy, the kind of content that we're able to do with storytelling is, I think we're beating the whole industry across. Like I can tell you, like the brands who've expanded in the US and who have offices in LA and in US, just because there's so much demand for Indian wedding photographers because of their willingness to go beyond and that extra mile. We don't work on hours, unlike like if you talk to us and you'll say, oh, do you work on hours? And like,
No.
no,
you
we
just
work
work
on
on a
a
project.
yeah, we work on a project and we work on a per day, right? Like
Right.
you will
Yeah.
talk about a per day.
Correct.
So I would talk about my per day fees. Now that per day could be 4 hours you make me work, or you make me work 14 hours. I'm all yours. That's the kind of heart and soul that we come with, while that market doesn't come in with that. So last year I did a wedding in Cancun, Mexico. And imagine my team has flown in from here. We've taken a 48-hour flight. Like it's so far because from here you go to
So when you
California.
say team, how many people is this?
This was a small wedding because it was with 100 people. So we were a team of 4 people who traveled for this wedding. But the bride was very clear, like, she was very clear who she wanted, very specific. It was a Hindu and a Muslim wedding. And they've been living in Puja and Arbaz, one of the most beautiful weddings. And just with 100 people in Cancun, they live in Seattle. And, so they were like flying into to Mexico. So the fact that a bride is willing to spend more than 6 lakhs was just our tickets. Like when you're talking about 6, 7 lakhs just went in on our tickets. While do you think she could get a wedding photographer there? Of course she could, but would she get the kind of meaningful content she had fought through with her family? It wasn't an easy love story, convincing. She's a girl from Bangalore, been there. So I think that whole story, you want to connect with someone and you really want to get that out through your wedding film, right? So I think, except quality wise, I would tell you like there's a little difference. Like I think because their lighting is so good, everything is like if there's something that they're better at, is just their properties, it's just their venues, it's just their colors that they get out. Unfortunately, we don't get those colors out because our venues are really like tight knit. We're always doing, most of our weddings are in four walls, right? Like unless and until you're doing a destination wedding. But if you talk about India's largest capacity of weddings, it's always a banquet wedding. So you don't really get the best colors. That's where we would like be far behind.
But
Um,
also, what about in terms of like tech integration? Like, I'm sure the West, they have
yeah.
much more tech than we do. Is that a thing
Not really, not
in terms
anymore.
of?
Like today, we deliver our photos through an app where, you can have your photos shared with all your friends across. So it's a facial recognition app. So we have our
Oh,
own.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
if,
so
yeah,
cool.
so if today you attended your best friend's wedding, you're not sitting and asking her for your picture. She sends you a QR code. You just scan your picture, and today Disha gets all her pictures. So if
Wherever
Disha,
she's in a picture or
wherever
in a shot?
she is there, like
That's
even if she's there in
beautiful.
like even if you were in some corner, the AI can see it and gives you only your 100 photos. Today, the father has only to see his pictures. So, as a bride, I would want to go through all the 4,000 pictures, but as a guest, you only go through, say, 10, 20 pictures if you were there.
Like the
S-
people tab on our iPhones.
yeah, the
Oh,
same.
yeah,
You
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
yeah,
have
yeah.
yeah.
people and you
The
have a
Yeah,
person.
it's a same feature. So you get that at weddings. We actually put up QR codes as well. So you can just scan the QR code and you get your pictures. We do same day edits like no one does. The kind of inventory that we put in at a wedding, that if a bride says, "Hey, I want 20 reels a day," she gets 20 reels a day. The bride
Wow.
says, "I want to see the wedding on the last day." So I remember 12 years back when I did my first Goa wedding, the bride said, "On the reception night, I want to play my wedding film." I'd never known how to do it, but carried two editors. One was just selecting the shots, one was just editing the shots, and compiled the music, made a 4.5 minute short film because that's the max that I could do in that timeline, right? But the joy of seeing like your weddings happened at 4 p.m. in the evening, you've come back for your reception at 10 p.m., you walk in, the MC says, "Welcome, Mr. and Mrs." for the first time, and then you play a video. There is no bigger joy than that. So the kind of same day edits that we do right now, we have an app where it's just like a Netflix where you can have all your episodes down and you can have all your wedding videos. So I don't even need to go to YouTube to watch my wedding videos.
Wow.
So I have my own personalized app where I have all my episodes because you get a Sangeet film, you get a short film, you get teasers. And if today you want individual episodes, 4 years back, I landed up in COVID time. A client of mine said, "Listen, you've done my wedding. Now it's my sister's wedding. Let's do something different." And that's a time when you were at home and just consuming content. I said, "Hey, let's do a Netflix episode. And I said, let's do, instead of doing one long movie of 45 minutes, let's cut it into episodes. So we did movies like One Drunken Night. What does it
So
feel like?
So
cute.
So
nice.
all your drunken stuff is in one, all your emotional stuff is in one. Then there's a movie which is just made for the parents, your daddy's angel. So we had like different chapters and we did like 10 short
I
films and
love
we did
that
a
concept.
I
series.
know.
It's a
I
beautiful
know. I wish I
concept.
had that for my wedding. I think I
That's
should get
so
married
cool.
again.
And
Yeah,
then
Like
do
with
it.
the same guy.
Go for it.
I
Go for
might
it.
just like 10 years.
Yeah,
When
10
we're
years,
when
why
we're
not?
celebrating the
Yeah.
decade of it, and
Yeah.
I'll be like, I think we should do this again, and let's call Israni photography for it because she has some wonderful
Yeah,
concepts.
yeah.
But
So
that brings us to, where do you think photography, wedding photography and videography is going in the next 5 years? Where do you see it?
it's only growing. It's only going to get sharper. I think social media has taken it over. It's only going to get shorter, crisper, more storytelling. Gone are those days when people would really even want to sit through a 45-minute wedding film. I think people's patience level has diminished so much with your 3 minute scrolls, with your 3 second scrolls. So I think it's about reinventing yourself. I was never a fan of doing vertical content, doing reels, but it's I've only got to evolve with time, and I think that's the way forward. If I don't embrace it, I'm going to be left behind. So I think while I just don't understand how do you do some things in vertical, because your grandeur is like your stage is, horizontal. As a photographer, you've always looked at things in a landscape format. But I think reels is the next big thing, and people appreciate that. I've had a 60-year-old uncle say, "आप वो reels बना के भेजोगे ना WhatsApp
Oh,
पे."
so
So I
cute.
think the parental age is also now so used to scrolling and waking up to a WhatsApp message, or their life is so on WhatsApp, that I think parents also now want to see content on WhatsApp. They want to distribute content on WhatsApp. So I think that's become big. So you got to like really, like, while I know you want to have the classic and the timeless as well, which is never going to fade. Like if you ask me, is your social media, is reels going to take over the classic stuff? No, it's not, because eventually your screen sizes at home is yet going to be a TV, right? So you'll always go back to your timeless stuff, which is going to be your 4K cinematic movies, but you'll always have someone doing some real content, because also the fact that a phone can really get into those personal
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
While today I think it's hard for these big cameras to also like get into that zone. So I think you want to
Right.
have best of both the worlds. And also people capturing the little nuances, and like you said, the BTS is so much more fun. The
Absolutely.
behind the scenes of a bride getting ready, shouting at everybody
Yeah.
around.
The little bridezilla
Yeah,
moments.
like the little bridezilla. And also, with people, like I've had we've done reels where we've actually entertained more of the guest at the wedding. Like we made them do some cringe content, but cringe is so in, right? Like people are actually watching cringe. There was
That's
a
true.
time when I used to make movies, and I used to, like I said, if a movie can't make me cry, then I feel like I haven't done it well. But now it's like, if you're not able to create cringe content, you're not doing well as well. So I think it's only cringe and emotions which are working.
Yeah.
Like I think there's no in between. So I think
Yeah.
if you have both these things sorted, I think you're going to be good.
I love that. Honestly,
Yeah.
such a fresh take on
Yeah,
things.
but I think that's how it is, right? Like
Yeah.
I've had uncles dancing to some really funny songs. When you're so Bollywood's played a huge part, right? In all of this. Like when Band Baja Barat came out, is when genuinely the wedding planners really were recognized. Otherwise, they were just an auntie who was helping you plan, or there was just an uncle who was sorting things for you. So I think Bollywood has played when your Dil Dhadakne Do came, the whole cruise events became a thing. Like till then, no one had done a cruise event. The minute that movie came out is when people actually started to plan 25th and anniversaries. People started to plan weddings on the cruise. The whole Dil Dhadakne Do song became like doing a one take shot. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
became a thing.
We
So I
were
think
jamming to that
Yeah.
song in the car today.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
think so many things, like I'm so like for me, like I look back at Karan Johar and I'm like, he is it. Like, and
Yeah.
like today, like the way he did Rocky and Rani as well, people
Yeah.
started to do barats like that.
That is
There
all
was,
cringe.
yeah, it's
And
all
it's
cringe,
and
but
it worked, and
it
how?
works. And how? And I feel like that's how, like I feel like Bollywood keeps needing to do this, like every 2 years, like they need to get something for it. But like I've had a bride who's actually sent us a reference getting married at Suryagar, saying, "This is how exactly I want my walk down to be." Exactly. There's no replacing it. And I'm like, bro, she had like some, she's taken 12 hours to do that. We have 2 seconds to do that.
Yeah.
Because your walk is only for 2 seconds. So while I like what Bollywood inspires you to do, but it's also hard to achieve that. So it's very important to educate your bride as well that, hey, this is a movie, and they
Yeah.
take like some
There's
4
a lot
days
of
to
prep for
shoot.
it. Yeah.
And like they take 4 days to shoot this, while we take 4 seconds to shoot it, right? And we're working on multiple cameras. We don't have lights, we don't have paras, we don't have soft boxes and all. We're working with natural ambient lighting, so there's no one putting a shadow on you there
Yeah.
to make your lehenga look so pretty, or to make your eyeliner. You're not taking one step at a time, you're taking all the steps in one go. So we're not pausing you at any given. So but that actually changed, like Anushka and Virat's wedding actually changed
Oh,
the game.
so
It actually
beautiful.
changed the
So
game to make
beautiful.
intimate weddings, it just became a thing. Till then, intimate weddings were not considered. So I think Bollywood has always made our work while
Yeah,
really
every 2
exciting.
years, one cultural shift
Yeah.
from Bollywood,
Yeah.
and that
Has
would be the
yeah,
next
yeah,
trend
that's the next trend. So
to
if you really
follow.
want to see what's going to happen next, wait for a new celebrity to do
To
something.
get
I
married.
think I think I think a runaway bride would also be something
That
like
would be
that, right? That'd
fun.
be fun. Like I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like today, Alia's wedding set the whole bar to have home weddings.
Oh, yeah.
While in COVID
KL
we
and
Wow.
were
Atia
doing
as well.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
There's
Their
But I'm
home
saying
wedding.
that,
True.
yeah, home weddings. But I'm saying like in COVID, we did home weddings as well. Like we did weddings with 25 people, just one photographer, one cinematographer, and that became the norm. And it was really like, if you ask me, Megha, what's your most beautiful time in the wedding industry? I would say COVID times.
Ah,
Like we've done such pretty
didn't get more
weddings.
intimate than that.
Yeah, didn't get because people were not doing things for the world, right? Because
Yeah.
then it became, I'm doing this to just get married and I'm doing this for myself. So that shift became the most beautiful. Like now people have accepted to do smaller weddings. But talk about pre-COVID times, the small weddings just didn't exist. Now people are used to saying, okay, we're not doing the large. Like now kids can actually put their foot down and say,
I want a
hey,
more
this is
intimate
how I
wedding.
want it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
parents are actually listening to them. But
Yeah.
first, if you told them that, it
Absolutely.
wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you give us like a rough idea? Like I feel like we dived into so much when it
Right,
comes to photography and videography and the real essence of what it does for a
right.
wedding. But could you give us a little insight just to wrap this up? Could you give us an insight on the business angle for Israni photography and films in terms of how affordable are you? What are your packages? Is that something we could discuss?
Sure. So I can give you a range for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Just a
Yeah. So I
range,
can
just
give you
so
a
we
range
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mega a little taken aback. Oh my god, how am I
I
gonna
know
fit?
this was not in the questions that we had planned for you,
But I'm
but I
happy.
feel like a
Um,
lot of people watching this are
right,
going to resonate with your
right,
kind of
right.
work ethic, and I feel
Sure,
like they will be willing to work with you. But
sure.
we could probably give them like a blanket.
Right, right. So we'll give a blanket. So I'll tell you the vision for the brand that when I started off, from 2012 to 2018, I was doing everything myself, struggling, hustling, doing sales, doing marketing, going on floor, and really not able to meet up to the client's expectation because your wedding season is only for 6 months of the year, if you really see. That's when I actually went back in 2018, got myself educated because I was like, either I will get sucked up, and how you say, you just get worn out as a creative person. And I said, this is my time to go get myself educated, where I said, okay, I need systems in place, I need a team in place, I need more hands in place. So today at East Ranis, we have a really large team. We're more than 70 people working.
Wow.
Everybody's in-house. We have editors, photographers. I created a role called creative director, and then I created a role called client servicing head. Like these terms you don't really see in wedding photography. I'm talking about 14 years back. There was just a photographer who used to go to a client's house, sell the project, go shoot, and then also edit the project. In our case, editing becomes very, very crucial, right? Because gone are those days when you can tell a client that, hey, I'm going to take 6 months to deliver. The client has no threshold to wait for that long. So I think a client really comes back to you if your deliverable timelines are really clear and they're on point, because no one wants to chase you. And I realized that while I was doing everything myself, I was like all over the place and I couldn't really meet up to my deadlines. And I saw brides getting disappointed, saying, hey, the work is great, but if you get it after 4 or 5 months, it loses its charm. That's when, we had a show director. So the show director only goes on floor, handles the entire project. I just look into the back end. If there's any screw ups, is when I really come into play right now. We have something called a client servicing head who's just servicing all their needs, then a photography team, a cinematic team, then the editors work. We have a creative form process where we actually get into the depth of what they exactly want so that it's all bibled. It's like we call it our blueprint book, that we take this on floor. And even the editor who's sitting back in the office, who has no idea what's happened in these 3 days, exactly knows their vision and exactly knows what's gone down. So that process is something that I figured out in 2018, and is how I could scale my brand. And that's how today I'm in 2 cities. Otherwise, we would just be in Bombay doing a very small, like, you don't really see photography companies scaling at large, because it's a very personalized job. You yet want to see, who's going to be doing what. So our price ranges when it comes down to that question, we're anyways in a bracket of 3 to 4 lakhs a day on an average for a wedding. And now that depends. If it's an intimate wedding, your costing goes down because the number of people that you need is lesser. When you need a larger team, your budgets could also go on to 7 lakhs a day because your team is so large, right? So it's very customized. It's very to your wedding. I've done weddings as small as one photographer, one cinematographer. I've done large weddings as large as 10 photographers and 10 cinematographers and 2 drones. Like the max that someone would do, like I did a wedding in Pondicherry for someone who owns the school, and the whole village had come in for the wedding. It was a South Indian wedding, and they had the whole city who was attending the wedding, and that was like some 30,000 people. So those weddings require like a crew of 30, 40 people, because there's one with the father, there's one at the
Right.
decor, there's one at
Yeah.
So
the
it completely
entrance.
depends on the
Yeah, so
requirement.
really the requirement in weddings, and
Absolutely.
there's no one wedding which looks alike, right?
Right.
Your rituals are going to be different, your days are going to be different. You could have smaller days, larger days. The largest wedding that we've done is like a 10, 12-day wedding. Like people do 10, 12-day weddings. The smallest is like a 1-day wedding. So as small to 1 day, which would be barely like 2, 3 lakhs, to as large as someone could also go to a billing of like say 70, 80 lakhs for photography. That depends really on the scope of work. So yeah, it's a large blanket to give you.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean,
But
there
yeah,
was
like to just give you a price range, yeah, this is what we're in. Yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you so much, Megha. But before we
Thank
let
you.
you go, we obviously have a fun game planned out,
Yay.
and we can't wait to play that with you.
Yay,
I hope
excited. I'm like nervous. I'm like, hey,
I'm
what
very
is this,
excited.
man?
we
But
are so excited.
I think you're gonna nail this game. I have a
Really?
very
Yeah, we
strong
have a feeling that
feeling
you're
you're
going to
gonna
do
nail
I
it.
better
really
now. You're
well.
just like hyping it up, and
The
now I'm like
pressure
putting
is on.
pressure. Like this is like putting a lot of pressure.
We've spoken in depth about wedding photography and, the brides, the grooms, the
Right.
journey. Loved the little stories that you had to share with us. We felt like
I know.
so like,
Wanting to get married again.
yeah, I actually even said that.
I'm
10
not. I'm
years,
not
I'm
too
going to
sure
do
about
this
that.
again with the same man. I'll do this every 3 years with him just for the sake of photos and videos because this is so exciting. But also tell us, because you have your own line of Love and Memories,
Right.
which is about family photography and babies and newborns and things like that. So tell us a little bit about how you started that and that whole line of photography.
Disha, it was just a natural extension. I think it was just about keeping up with the brides. I think you made such strong relationships in those 3 days. And I think the natural extension to a bride, the next journey is like a baby shower, like the next big celebration that happens in your house. So I think it was the first bride who again called us and say, hey, I need a photographer for my Godh Bharai. And I was like, hey, what's a Godh Bharai, right? So I think it's always your brides who've taught you that. And I think we landed up doing that as our first Godh Bharai, like in a Gujarati household. And it was such a beautiful function. And I think we were doing that under, the same brand. And that's when I realized that, hey, I can't integrate it because, they're very different looks and they're very different profiles. The whole event looks really different. And that's where Love and Memories actually took birth. I think credit goes to all our brides over the last couple of years that we've done. So it's been about 7, 8 years of To Love and Memories as well. It's our smaller vertical, but it's got our heart and soul because we really keep up to our relationships. We don't make any money out of it. It's not a money making. Yeah, because it's such smaller work, right? Like it's like one event. Nobody's going to spend lakhs on a Godh Bharai or a baby shower, right? It's very rarely. You are like typically doing 4 hours, of work. So what are you going to charge them, right? And they've become such good friends of yours that you just want to naturally extend that. So it's not a business model, if you ask me, like, is it really? But it's a volume game. Like, while your wedding is once in a lifetime, we do baby showers, we do the welcoming of the child, and we do the first birthday, second birthday, so it's that extension. It's
Do
like,
you also do newborn photography?
yeah, we also
You do.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that extension
Right.
of with the client goes on for years. I've had so many of our brides we've captured right from their engagement to their child's 4th birthday, 5th birthday. They just call us and our dates are booked because, you're mostly doing it on a Saturday. Like, okay, every year I get that same bride calling us, saying that, okay, now it's this birthday, we're doing this theme, we're doing that theme. And it's so exciting because, and it's also fast, quick workout. Like the work happens for 4 hours. In the next week, it's like out and over. Barely any changes, barely any, like there's no back and forth in birthday parties and baby showers, right? So it's like a quick in and out, but it also gives us the fact that we're in someone's house for so many years, and it's like legacy. So I think when I look back at Israni photography, if I had to leave it back as a legacy brand, then this is something that I would want to like be known for, right? Like you've captured some milestone, so it's only for that reason. It's a yeah, it's the most fulfilling feeling of just getting into the same house again.
That's beautiful.
Megha, you've
That's
had
so
us
beautiful.
smiling through this entire
I
episode. My
know.
cheeks are hurting because it was so sweet
That is
to
true.
just hear all
That
of
is
this.
so true. But thank you so much for sharing all of this with
Yeah.
us, because
So beautiful.
like I said at the beginning of this episode, that we've not had somebody from this profession join us and give us so much insight into what goes behind such a large business, actually. So thank you so much for sharing your stories. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
go right into the
Let's
game.
get into the game.
I'm
So
excited,
I'm gonna
nervous,
give
all
you
of it.
a little introduction of what this game is about. So since
Brace
you've done
myself. Brace
Yes,
myself.
No, you're gonna ace this.
yeah, since you've done so many weddings, of course you've been a part of so many sangeets as well, and you've seen the chachas and chachis and everyone dance their hearts out to so many popular tracks. So we're going to be playing a few
So now
songs.
we're gonna make you do the hook steps of
No
all
way.
these songs.
No way.
I'm
No
just
worries,
kidding.
kidding.
Yeah.
We can't do that on a podcast. We can't get up and
I
try
was like,
doing
are my
this.
dancing skills coming to use? Then I'm just making like.
Oh, you can dance?
No, I can't.
Oh,
Like I'm not
man.
a, like,
Like, wow.
yeah, like I can dance, but like drunken dancing, not
dancing,
like
club
not like coffee dancing here, right? Like that's not happening. Yeah.
We're getting drinks for Megha the next time. But it's about just fill in the blanks sort of a thing. So we're going to play a few popular tracks and we're going to abruptly stop them. And you've got to like continue the song for us.
You gotta continue the lyric.
Yeah, yeah.
That means my singing skills of how
I
Besura.
mean-
I mean, you're
can
with
do
two
that.
people who can barely sing as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna help you.
In fact, you're with two people that would actually be like, that's how the song ends. So this will be fun.
Yes, go for it.
All right, gonna start now.
Dun, 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 oh God, I can't do this. Oh God, I'm as bad, man. Oh God.
I mean,
singing
Megha,
the song.
both of us are South Indian. We can get this one.
Yeah, go on.
Oh my God.
बॉयफ्रेंड की तुझे कोई फिक्र नहीं पहली डेट पे कहे ओके बाय.
God, I need to know the hooks.
I'm going to the next one, okay?
घर वालों को भी बादशाह बोल पाल के
Perfect.
आया दिल्ली वाली
I love it. You got one. Nice. You got one.
Really, God. ये जवानी है दीवानी just saved me, guys.
Ready. Okay, next one.
Moja hi moja.
That's right.
Moja hi moja. Yeah, I know
That's
that.
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
not bad, not bad.
But I can say the movie name, the actor name as well.
I know,
guys.
but you can't say the
I
lyrics.
can't say the lyrics. Damn.
तेरी बातों से तू चल गई,
हाँ, खल गई,
मुझे खल गई, तेरी बेपरवाही खल गई, मोहतरमा तू किसी को की मूली है जरा बता.
This is very tough though. You all are like, actually, you all are prepped and come and putting people on the spot.
No,
Huh?
these are just songs we knew.
We
so we were
knew.
like, these are basic. She'll know
This
these
is like your
basic
your
songs.
car drive. This
It's
is what
our
you have.
jamming
Literally,
song.
yeah.
So you all just made your
Yeah,
car
we were like,
drive very
think
interesting,
about wedding
basically.
and think about songs.
And these are
And we came up with the top 10 songs
Wow.
ourselves. Okay, next
Wow.
one.
Hookah bar.
Correct. Get the lyrics. Let's see if you can get the lyrics. Sung by a very close friend.
Yeah.
And she's like,
It's
na
like,
na 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 na.
Yeah, but you don't know the wordings, guys. But it's hookah bar, tera pyar, 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 hookah bar.
That's right. Okay, we're going on to the next one.
Awesome.
Love this. Love this.
Titanic, tera bajna jalla balla. Yay, I got this, guys. I was better. I was
Not
much better.
bad.
So
You're getting
good.
better. You're getting better. Not bad.
Megha, come on.
Now you're like,
We wanted to throw one surprise factor for
oh
you.
God, guys.
This
no
is
way.
the best part. So when we were coming up with this playlist, we were like thinking about songs, and
Hmm.
then suddenly it just hit me. I was like, Meghna, we should have one like
Regional
regional song.
One like just put me in
One
the
just
spot.
regional
Yeah.
song that will take her
Yeah,
by
it's
surprise because
Yeah, yeah.
And
she's
she
at
said,
weddings.
ooh antava. And I was
Huh.
like, dude, I'm Telugu and I don't know the lyrics to that song. She's
But I
definitely
know
not
that
good.
song. Ooh, anta mama,
The
ooh,
other
anta
lines?
See, she was
mama.
like, I told you, everyone knows that song.
Dude, everybody knows
I
that
know.
song.
Okay, next one. We're almost at the end.
Like I'm trying to fast forward my brain.
No, what
Dude,
Megha should
yeah,
really
like
concentrate
really
on
bad.
Sangeets more, bro.
So I like lyrics, man. You ask me movie actor, I'll yet tell you this is like wordings.
Yeah, exactly.
My
This is
God,
why
I've never paid
The
attention.
thing is,
yeah,
the thing is,
exactly.
I've never paid
Megha is
attention.
focusing more on
Like
brides leaving the
I can
house.
vibe. I
no,
can
also,
vibe, bro.
also, I think when the song is playing, it's so easy for us to sing along.
Yeah, that
But when you
never-
stop
yeah,
it,
when
it's like,
stops,
oh
it's
shit,
like,
what is
shit.
it? What is it?
And I'm trying
What
to
is
fast
it?
forward. Like I was trying to go aage, like sing it faster
not
in
good-
my
that's not
head.
good
That's not
strategy. You
helping.
just gotta go
Yeah,
with the song.
you just gotta
Yeah.
go with the
Feel
song. Okay, I think this is
Megha.
the last one though. Let's do the last
Please do
one.
one like. This is not Shadi Ka Gana. This is item number.
That's right.
Guys, this was really like a bad
This
showdown.
is so good.
This is a really
so
bad
good.
showdown,
This
guys.
was something I said,
This
I
is
loved
like
it.
getting my weakest sides out. Like lyrics and
You can do the step now.
I yet couldn't know.
Do you know the step? She doesn't know the song only.
You don't know
I
the
don't
song?
know the song
Uyamma?
name.
Ravina
Like a,
Tandon's
yeah,
daughter.
like a, yeah, not yeah,
Rasha Tandon?
Rasha Tandon.
Yeah.
मैं तो मर गई उई अम्मा मैं तो टूट के बिखर गई
Uy amma, uy amma, uy amma. She does it better. I think she's put all her favorite songs. See, it's her favorite song.
It's like Megha knows the song.
But it's not there at all.
Yeah.
Like I was like, it's not there at all. Guys, I
We
was really
learned-
bad.
We learned so much from this episode.
I know.
We have so much knowledge that Megha has given us that we wanted to give her something, you know, to
Guys,
take back
I'm
home.
like if I watch this, I'm gonna be like, no, guys, no watching the end. Guys,
Megha,
watch it till this second.
You spoke about how cringe sells. It
This
sells.
is what is selling.
It's going to sell.
These are our reels, guys. This is like the clickbait
being
that
like,
we
oh
would be
no.
using.
Oh God, this is
But-
like really on the spot and really bad.
No,
one.
but
No, it's
honestly,
so fun.
I know for a fact that the next wedding that Megha is going to,
I'm going to
she's
like
really
by heart
going
the.
to be
I am
there in
actually
that
going to by
Sangeet and
heart
she's
the.
going to be like, I'm going to sing every
Yeah,
song
I'm
now.
gonna at least
I'm
these
gonna
songs
learn
I'll never
these
forget
songs.
now. Like this Ishaq Zadeh song, I'll never forget. now.
Jhalawala.
Yeah,
Such
like,
a nice
yeah.
song.
It's such a nice song, but you just won't think of it.
I know,
Like
right?
yeah, like you won't think of it.
But then again, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
For
It was
coming
fun. It
this
was fun
quickly.
putting me on test. It was fun.
We had so much fun. I think we learned so much. And I
Yeah.
said before, we have my cheeks are hurting because we've been smiling so much through this episode.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, we have a quick present for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
a
you
little
so much.
hamper from us. Thank you so
Thank
much
you so
keep
much.
going.
for making time on
Uh,
a Sunday and post
on
your
the
Diwali party.
Post all our Diwali,
during
all our
Diwali.
Diwali parties.
To make time to
Yes.
see us and to be a part of this.
Thank you
Megha.
so
We-
much.
Thank
Love
you,
was a
guys.
pleasure
Thank
having you here.
Thank you so much. This is so sweet.
Yeah, we look
Thank
forward
you.
to doing another episode with
Yes.
you.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
for
should
sure.
next time, like a part 2 to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
part
that would be a lot
sequel.
of fun.
A
Yeah.
sequel done for
That would
sure.
be a lot of fun.
And next
Thank
time we'd
you.
love to have your husband here because I'm
Yes.
sure he'll have a lot of insights to give us as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We'd
Yeah,
love to
he
do
will,
that.
Absolutely.
he will just talk about food. It's going to be
We'd love it.
Yeah,
Just
just
we haven't
food,
done
major
we
foodies.
haven't done that yet. So
Oh yeah, that's an interesting
Yeah.
space. But
We'd love
maybe
to.
that one should be at my mind then next.
yeah, we
yes.
should actually do it at
Yeah,
my mind.
yeah, at
that would
my
be a
mind.
lot of
Next
fun.
one, yes,
That would be a lot
yes.
of fun. Thank you again,
Thank you
Megha.
so much,
Thank you,
guys.
Megha,
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the DNM frequency. I hope you guys had fun with this episode. There is more in store for you guys, so stay tuned. We'll be coming back again next week with another episode. Thank you for tuning in. See you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.